So the author says, may Allah have mercy on him. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. الكلام هو اللفظ المركب المفيد بالوضع. Speech, al-kalam, it is al-lafzu, it's al-lafz murakkab mufid bil-wada'. It is an utterance, lafz, murakkab, composed, mufid, beneficial, bil-wada'. We'll explain that inshallah, bil-wada'. So, what this means that the author is saying here that kalam is, then we see after al-kalamu huwa, we see four things there. Al-lafzu, al-murakkabu, al-mufidu, bil-wada'. Out of these four things, the meaning of what the author is saying is that kalam is one of these things, which is lafz. So the type of thing that kalam is that it's a lafz, a pronunciation or an utterance. So, and everything else that's here is a description of that lafz. Because it's not just a lafz. Kalam is a lafz, but not only that. Remember that the definitions of the scholars are by process of elimination. Jamir, manir.
Mm-hmm.
So if we say only al-kalam, speech, is al-lafz, the pronunciation, and stop there, then this will include things that we don't want to include,
Mm-hmm.
such as what is unintelligible.
Mm-hmm.
So that's an utterance, for example. But we don't want to include that. So we need to fine tune the definition more. We need more qualifiers. So it's a lafz, but not merely that, but it's also murakkab, constructed, composed. When you say constructed or composed means that you have parts.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have parts. Uh, for example, uh, the smallest indivisible particle. Is it murakkab? No, it's not murakkab. Is it something created? It is created, but it's not murakkab. It's not composed. How so? Because it's not made of pieces. A single indivisible piece is not made of pieces, so it's not constructed or composed. Here, al-lafzul murakkab, it has to be, in order for an utterance to be kalam, it needs to also be murakkab, constructed or composed. So then there should be at least two pieces in order for it to be kalam. Uh, However, if we stop there, then this will include in our definition what we don't want to include, such as saying, such as the idafa, غلام Zayd, that's constructed.
Mm-hmm.
غلام Zayd, so the ghulam of Zayd, is that kalam? It's not. Or a swear without what's being sworn about, like wallahi, and that's it. Or a condition without its consequence. Like in comma Zaid, if Zaid stood up and then stopping there.
Mm-hmm.
All of these are constructed pronunciations, but they're still not kalam. So we need to add more to the definition. Al-Mufid. Al-Mufid, according to the Arabic grammarians or the Nahwiyun, Al-Mufid means what is suitable for the speaker to stop at. What is, yani they say, ma yahsunu sukutu alayh, that which is suitable to stop upon it. That refers to the speaker.
Mm-hmm.
And doesn't leave the listener waiting. It's suitable for whatever was said. The amount that was said is suitable for the speaker to stop there, and then for the listener to not be left waiting
Mm-hmm.
for more to be said. So in English, they say they have an expression that is in this realm. They say what conveys a complete thought.
Mm-hmm.
And if someone were to say that's what's meant here, when we say it conveys a complete thought, that's what's meant here. I wouldn't necessarily argue with him here.
Mm-hmm.
However, I wouldn't say it that way because that's not what the scholars said. And if we're going to convey the knowledge, we're going to convey it the way we took it. We're going to adhere to the definitions and examples that the scholars gave. We're not going to replace them.
Mm-hmm.
So the scholars didn't call this conveying a complete thought. They called this saying enough that's suitable for stopping
Mm-hmm.
and not leaving the listener waiting. So that's what we're going to say. And we're not going to teach Arabic like English or French. And we're not going to teach any of the religious knowledge like a Western approach to education. Rather, we're going to teach the way that the Muslims taught it.
Mm-hmm.
Just the way we got it. We want to give it the way we got it. So, so the examples that I gave you are all examples of things that are not suitable for stopping on them, for the speaker to stop there, and then the listener won't be left waiting.
Mm-hmm.
Ghulamu Zaid, if someone just came in and said Ghulamu Zaid, then the one who hears that will be just still there waiting. What? What about him? Or Wallahi, someone says only.
Mm-hmm.
Then the hearer, he'll be waiting. What are you swearing about? So just the fact that he's waiting, so that means that it wasn't suitable to stop there. So that's not kalam. Or in comma Zaid, if Zaid stood, then who's listening will be waiting. What will you do?
Mm-hmm.
But if the speaker said, comma Zaid, Zaid stood, then the listener can suffice with that. Or if the speaker said, Zaidun qa'im, Zaid is a stander or one who stands. And that's it. Then the listener can suffice with that.
Mhm.
Some scholars said mufid means it gives you knowledge that you didn't know before.
Mhm.
That kalam has to be something not known already. Like, according to some, if you say ashamsu harra, the sun is hot, some of them said that's not kalam
Mhm.
because everybody knows that. But we
Mhm.
don't usually go there though. Al-Makudi was among those who said that.
Mhm.
May Allah have mercy on it. Amen.
Mhm.
طيب. Now, we said al-kalam, speech, huwa, it is al-lafzul murakkabul mufid, the beneficial composed utterance.
Mhm.
And notice here, I translated it backwards. The beneficial composed utterance. I could have said the utterance beneficial and composed, but the adjectives in Arabic, they tend to translate backwards into English.
Mhm.
Not absolutely though. Bil wada'. Wada' means put, the
Mhm.
word itself. So what is bil wada' here? The scholars, the grammarians, they differed about it. Some of them said it means bil qasd, with a goal. It is said with a goal. Yeah, we
Mhm.
could say intent, but I think the word goal fits here very nicely.
Mhm.
It is something that's said with a goal, as opposed to what? As opposed to, for example, the pronunciation of someone who's sleeping, the pronunciation of the one whose tongue slipped, the parrot, the pronunciation of the parrot,
No.
or the insane person.
No.
And some of them said, rather, bilwada' means put forth in Arabic.
Mhm.
They call that al-wad'u al-arabi. That means, like what I just said, put forth in Arabic, something like that. An Arabic pudding. And according to that, if kalam is what's put forth in Arabic, then that would mean that what's not Arabic is not kalam, speech, like Barbar language, Turkish language, English, etc. language. So would we say something like that?
Mhm.
And the answer is yes, but with the meaning that what it means is that kalam is what's put forth in Arabic, means that's what the grammarians are concerned with.
Mhm.
It's the Arabic language that the Nahwiyun are concerned with.
Mhm.
So the Nahwiyun are not concerned with what was not put forth in Arabic. So they're not concerned with, for example, the word the, and its rules,
Mhm.
or like that, or the word and whatever rules come with it.
Mhm.
It's not the subject of their study. And so, since they are studying Arabic, then they use that general word kalam for what they're studying. This is speech. The kalam, we study speech. Kalam, but they mean Arabic speech. So anything that's not Arabic is not kalam. according to us. That's why in the books of the grammarians, of the Nahwiyun, they do say honestly and objectively, al-kalamu indana. They say kalam according to us. They mean according to us grammarians, we grammarians.
Mhm.
That indana, according to us, they don't neglect mentioning that. So that you know that they're using the word kalam as a technical jargon. So then the word kalam has different usages. The fundamental meaning of kalam is what makes you understand. Anything that makes you understand is kalam. So that would include uh, more than a pronunciation.
Yeah.
That would include sign language and any representation that promotes a meaning, like an image, like something built, like a mihrab for the qibla.
Mhm.
All of these give a meaning. They make you understand something. So they are kalam in the most literal sense of the word. And writing, for example. Uh, but the grammarians don't intend any of that, not even the writing. And that's important to understand.
No.
So when the grammarians talk about kalam, they are talking about something verbal, not
No.
written.
Lawful. Lawful. No.
Uh, and so then here, if that's the case, is there a difference between written Arabic and spoken Arabic? Uh, like they say, like they teach in English, there's a difference between how you write English and how you speak English. Is
Mhm.
that true in Arabic also? And fundamentally, the answer is no. Fundamentally, no. You write it like you say it. Now, I said fundamentally because if you, yeah, sometimes you can tell that someone's what you're reading is like someone's talking.
Mhm.
Sometimes you can tell what you're reading in Arabic is literally the um, the transcript of someone who was talking,
Mhm.
like some of Sheikh Abdullah's books.
Mhm.
You can tell that they just wrote. He was just delivering the lessons, and they wrote it down and compiled it. And sometimes it's looks like it required some thought and review and editing, etc. Let's take a good example. Let's take a look at the book of Siyuti, any book of Siyuti,
Mhm.
especially a bigger one. So it looks like very well he was editor and went through drafts and arranging his paragraphs, etc., and all of that. But still, essentially, it's the same thing, though. The way you talk is the way you write in Arabic.
Mhm.
So there's no need to separate those two cases.
Mhm.
So it makes it, for me, curious. Is it really true that the way you speak English is not the way you write English? Or that's because people got weak in the language and they started separating them?
Mhm.
Well, and Allah knows best. So uh, that's bil wada'. So al kalam, speech, according to the grammarians, the Arabic nahwiyun or nuhah, in their technical terminology, it is اللفظ المركب المفيد بالوضع. The utterance constructed beneficial put forth in Arabic.
Mhm.
Now, for our sessions, I'm going to consider bilwada' to mean put forth in Arabic.
Mhm.
And then that term is going to come back as we go along. This is how it was put forth in Arabic. This is how it is put forth in Arabic.
Mhm.
Uh,